Hi everyone, welcome to Detox tonight. Hope you're having a good Saturday evening, and this is a nice way to cap it off on our mat. Little relaxation, restoration for our bodies, and some peace for our minds. Hey Ari, how you doing, pal? Hi Darlene. I just want to check and make sure that you guys can hear me okay. I was wearing the sweatshirt this morning for practice as well, and got some feedback that maybe the mic sounded a little bit different. So if you could let me know, I've got it clipped a little bit higher. Just want to make sure that you guys can hear me okay. Hi Chandra, welcome back. If it's anybody's first time or one of your first few times coming to Detox, you're going to want to have a couple things that you can use as props around you. So you could have a blanket that's rolled up or a towel that's rolled up. These things can be used to pad your body in certain positions. And so just have them available. If you have a yoga block, of course, you can bring your yoga block with you on your mat, but and these other things can help as well. Hi, Derek. And with as much as we've been practicing and seeing a lot of the same folks returning, especially for the detox, which is awesome, we're going to be breaking through some layers in our body. I'm breaking through layers in my body. So fortunately, with this style of practice, I've been doing all the classes with you guys, and I can definitely feel. And this is the thing. There's not really a day when I'm practicing or in any routine of practice that I'm not feeling something in the body. So as you're moving things around, as you're drawing yourself into these stretches, as you're breathing, with your mind, and there's a lot breaking down. Even when we think, oh, I broke it all down, right? There's nothing left to break down, at least in my investigation within kind of that inward perspective. There's always something else. And so it's pretty cool. At first I think these moments come more frequently and more often, and it kind of draws us in. Um, and then over time, maybe it takes, a few more, but it's okay because you're existing in this layer of peace that you really didn't know to exist before with yourself. Hi Terry, hi Sherry, hi Hank from Seattle. Welcome you guys. Hi Roz, welcome back. Little Ben this morning. Oh, the kid. So, the kids, they get on these devices and they want to watch YouTube and do all of that. So they see these videos, and he's got this idea. He's still shy, which I think is the cutest part, but he wants to show you guys his toys and then tell you about them. All right, thanks, Ari. I appreciate it. Amazing. Welcome, Lindsay. Welcome, Ben. Hoping the baby is resting. That's kind of the intent. I know we could have made it a little bit later for parents with little ones, but hopefully the baby's resting. You guys both get to practice. And welcome, Shelly from Florida. If anybody's going to be following along on the Earbuds music app, I'm going to start that playlist now. Should also have the playlist available on Spotify if you want to start that stream and have music. It just has to be on a separate device and then what you're listening to or watching the video on. And our playlist is starting. If you don't want music, that's totally fine. You have the video You make sure your volumes are set so that you can hear my voice clearly, and so you don't have to look back at the screen for the instruction. And really, the most important part is that you allow yourself to take a deeper dive inward. And I called it investigation, so there's always something to investigate, which just puts a different hat on the practice, versus this being who believes I can control things and I'm the one that's directing these actions and I'm taking these breaths and all of that. You're just going to take that hat off for now and put on a different hat and be a bit more inquisitive based on what you're feeling and what surfaces from your body into your mind. Awesome, Dana. Welcome. And so once you get your volume set, everybody, we're going to start in a child's pose tonight. And you can make that child's pose a little bit more narrow, so your knees closer together. And feel into your hips, or you can take your knees a little bit wider. So if you're not used to child's pose, you start in the tabletop on all fours. If you come here and say this is pretty uncomfortable on your knees, that's why you would have those blankets and those towels. You can set them underneath your knees. You really want to make yourself comfortable on the setup, and so that as you sit and soften into these shapes, your mind's not just going towards the agony or the position of the body. And set your knees, set your shins, and then let your bum come down first. And once you get your bum to settle, then you can start to make your way down onto your elbows, and this could be a good place to start. And keeps a lot of the pose out of the shoulders, and so that you're not clenching and gripping through the neck, and you can relax the face here. You can set something underneath your forehead. If it's not too much, maybe now, maybe later, you can let your arms extend a bit forward and come all the way down onto the ground. So make any of those adjustments that you need as you set up into your child's pose, and then keep your breath nice and loose, and so the breath is calm. The mind can wander. And then you're beginning your practice of stillness, and so your body starts to become still. You feel your body like an anchor, like if you were on a boat and you threw the anchor off the side of the boat. It splashes at the surface, and then with gravity it begins to sink. It's a really nice way to visualize yourself and surrendering to gravity. And there's nothing pulling that anchor back up. Once it touches all the way down onto the ground, besides somebody using strength. And so this is the practice of detox. You want to use as little strength as possible. You want to allow the body as an anchor in whatever shape you're in, and to settle all the way down as deeply as it can go. And then you're taking rest in your awareness. And awareness means you're open to the expansion of the mind. And possibility is that anything can flow into any place in your body. slowly begin to settle here. In certain nights there will be more of a stark contrast, and that you can feel the movement taking place inside versus outside. And you may have moments in where you realize that you've been holding yourself back. As they say, you can be your own worst enemy. Well, think of this practice like hanging out with your best friend. Your best friend, you can get into it almost immediately. You can go deep. You can share your deepest beliefs and your deepest fears. You can tell them anything, and on the other side of that, and have somebody listening and without judgment. And so this practice is like adding another best friend to your life, not taking anything away from any of your existing best friends. And a great question that we can ask ourselves is, why are we here right now? Why are we here at this point in our life? Why are we here on this mat? Why are we here connecting with whoever else may be practicing in this class tonight? Why are we here? And you can slowly begin to lift your head off the ground. Make your way back to your elbows, or if you're already there, that's fine. And then just feel this. So this is the part in where you want to go really slow, and so that you can acknowledge the release, not only sensationally with your body, okay, but also through your mind. So you're going to do like a little army crawl, bringing your elbows forward. And it's going to allow your hips to lift, and then slowly to extend your legs back behind you. And your elbows exist underneath your shoulders to keep your chest propped up a little bit. And let your feet go extra wide. And so you're putting more space in the front of your hips. And then make a soft fist with your right hand. And then make a soft fist and stack your left hand on top of your right hand. You might have to turn your elbows out a little bit wider, and then let your forehead, so you want to target the very center of your forehead, and coming down to rest on your top fist. And once you get your forehead set, let your neck and your shoulders release. You can feel them collapse. Let your belly release and your bum. You might have some tingles all the way down into your toes. This place where we're resting your forehead right now, that is your third eye center. It connects you to your intuition versus your intellect. Your gut feelings, the choiceless existence, the space where and you realize there is no right, there is no wrong. If you've been fighting a battle and for weeks or months of years of your life trying to be right, you might just let that go tonight. And slowly keep your face relaxed, and you can lift your forehead off your fist. Feel that in your neck, feel that in your shoulders. You bring your feet back in a little bit closer together. And then you can start to lift your bum, and we'll make our way up to all fours once again. As you get onto your hands and knees, walk your knees together. And crawl your knees towards your hands, and then lean off onto your left hip so that we can bring both legs around in front of us. Now, if you're not on a yoga mat, don't worry about it. Right? You can always use that blanket underneath your bum. If you're on a yoga mat, and scoot forward enough and so that you can reach behind you and then start to fold your yoga mat up a few times. So you're going to use this rolled up mat and then lift your bum and so that your hips sit a little bit higher than your heels. And so I just rolled the mat up. You can fold the mat up a couple times. And then your sits bones are kind of right on the edge of the rolled up mat there. And once you arrive here, bring the sole of your foot to your right inner thigh like a tree leg. And you're going to keep your torso orientated forward. And then we can simply start here. Let your hands come down onto the ground. You relax your right ankle down through your toes, and so you're releasing the strength of your right leg. And we'll progress with this, but right now let's just let the chin fall in towards the chest. And hopefully you got a little candlelight, and so you can see the twinkle of the light when you close your eyes. And we're literally adjusting the brain waves. I mean, you guys, if I don't get excited about this stuff, how could I get you to be excited about it? So it's quite interesting, and our great teacher in this practice is stillness. So, the best you can, no judgment. And think about that. What if for weeks or months or years you've been fighting the fight? I'm right. You're wrong, or you've been living your life because you thought you had to prove it to somebody. You may just not be seen the same way at this point. Keep your head heavy. Notice the softness in your belly, and if it's not soft, you let it go soft. And then you can crawl your hands forward a few inches, or all the way up to 6 inches. And so you're going to fold forward over your right leg a little bit more. you'll feel that parts of your body will be like, hey, what are you doing? And it'll try to come in and protect and support and ball up with strength, and then your practice and the direction of your practice can kick back in, acknowledging the stillness and then going back through the process and to disengage and to release and to surrender. And as many times in your mind and that you need to throw that anchor off the side of the boat and to remind yourself to settle, just keep throwing that anchor off the boat. And keep the belly soft. About 1 more minute on this side, please. And those of you listening, you might recognize our old friend James in this track right now. It's totally normal if you're feeling some achiness through your spine, especially in the middle part of your spine. Take a few deep breaths and some gentle sighs here. And keep your head heavy and then start to crawl your hands back slowly. And feel the sensations as you roll up one vertebra at a time. And then once you bring the stack back to your spine, all you're going to do is slowly bend your right leg. And so your right ankle is in front of your left ankle. And you're still seated on that blanket or your mat that is rolled up. And cap the knees with your hands. So this is more of a traditional position to sit when you're in a meditation. So let's just take a moment here and feel the rebound, which just basically means the expansion of space. You think of it more like the freeways that we're experiencing in Los Angeles right now. Far less cars, more flow, easier sense of flow. That's what's going through your body right now. And sometimes closing the eyes can add an intensity that you may not be ready for. So again, you're sitting with your best friend tonight. Your best friend would just say, hey, open your eyes. You be easy on yourself. Let go of the expectations. You're doing great. make a huge difference in your life when you develop this best friend from within. And the best friend is your practice. And it's a place you know that you can go to, you know you can share anything. But it doesn't mean that it's always going to be easy. There's a lot of confrontation, there's a lot of honesty. We need that confrontation. Humans, we require contradiction, and so that we can continue to find out what balance means, what hope means, what peace means. Keep your legs crossed as they are, and take your left hand over to your right kneecap. And so your fingers are just going to kind of create a prop for your torso. And then set your right hand behind you, anywhere behind you. You can be resting lightly on your fingertips. It really just depends on how long or how short your arms are. You might have to put something underneath your right hand. And then feel that we're not torquing and actively twisting ourselves, and keeping the breath natural, and keeping the breath calm, and allowing the head to remain on top of the shoulders, and the shoulders to drop away from the ears, and then pretty much just stalling ourselves in this seated and twisted position. And once you found that point where you're going to still, it may feel good to just let your right ear fall towards your right shoulder and not even use the strength in the muscles of your neck to hold your head up at all. You get a little secondary sensation into the left side of your neck and what's called the scalene muscles. Whichever you prefer, wherever you can relax more. And that's taking you deeper into your body tonight, wherever you can relax more. Remind you that it's okay to feel this, because I really can't think of any other moments in the day where you're going to be holding a twist like this, passively, and letting the compression as you rotate internally and externally around your spine. And so you ought to feel something. And then rest with that something. Allow your mind to meander. You're not trying to figure anything out right now. just keep traveling through space. I'll hold it for you, and we got about one more minute. You held up in this twist. And feel how supported you are. Not only in your body, but with a collection of folks that are on their mat tonight. I'd say it's pretty special. We got a world of almost 8 billion people. And so it's pretty special for those that have found themselves connecting with themselves and with each other. Even through this virtual existence, you can feel it. And it's actually teaching us how connected we really are, that it doesn't require the physical or face-to-face initiation for us to connect with each other, and to feel each other, and to love one another, and support one another. Take one deeper breath here. And soft sigh, and then go really slow, like slow motion. Because there's an exponential benefit into not picking up the anchor at all and throughout the entire practice. And so we stay as heavy as we possibly can. You may have noticed that you rotated much further than you thought you did. And now if you close your eyes and you sit here, you might feel a little bit off balance. You might feel like you're leaning into one side versus the other. So let's see what that feels like on our backs, please. Nice and easy, open the eyes. Uncross your legs and scoot your bum forward, and so that you can either remove your blanket or unroll your mat behind you. And then just go ahead and take a little siesta, lie down onto your back. Let your feet separate apart. Arms by your sides, let your palms face up. Refreshing sigh, let all the air out of your body. And if you hadn't done everything that we've done up to this point in this practice, then you wouldn't have the opportunity to feel this space right now. So enjoy it. You deserve it. Roz, I'll take you back to Italy, in the Yogashala. When we first played this track, if you're listening to it. And stay on the back, you guys. Bring your legs in a little closer towards each other. And then we're going to set up for a little hamstring on the left side. So bring your left knee in towards your chest. Interlace the fingers behind your left hamstring. And let your shoulders settle. And keep your head heavy, and then lift your left foot up until you start to feel the hamstring. So your leg does not have to push straight. And your leg can remain considerably bent. And that way you can relax your toes, and so you're not putting more stress into your ankle. Just feel something in the back of your left leg here. If you can straighten the leg with ease, and certainly you can go ahead and do that. And we just don't want to be pulling and creating a tug of war situation. And with our minds, there's plenty of that going on outside of ourselves. If you happen to realize that there's a lot more tightness in your left thigh and your left leg than you thought there was, then you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Whenever you're feeling in your left thigh, soften your thigh muscle the best you can. And we're only here for about 30 more seconds, or 5 natural breath cycles. And again, slow motion, begin to bend your left leg, let your heel come down. You may feel your hamstrings soften into your palms. And then go ahead and slide your hands out. Then bring your left foot down, reach your right arm up. And let's roll onto our right side. And come into the fetal position. And so your left hip is on top. And then you can rest your head into your right arm. You might feel a little pulse or a heartbeat in your left leg. And just let your hips stack. And throw that anchor off the side of the boat again. Notice how we're exploring the imbalances in our body, and to show our minds what balance and peace really is. And what it means to surrender in the fight. And you let go of that self-hate. Most of that shit, self-hate, judgment, and being hard on yourself, that's all coming from some external influence, somebody else's shit that they passed on to you. You don't need it. It wasn't yours to begin with. You use your left hand, go ahead and make our way into all fours. That may have turned you all the way around to the back of your mat, which is totally fine, like me. If not, all good, doesn't matter. And then go ahead and set your table and take your knees in, take your knees out, whichever you prefer. And then let's settle back into a child's pose. So hips first. Forearms could feel nice. Nobody's getting an award for what your child's pose looks like. You're getting an award for the space and the surrender and the weight of your body and the openness of your mind as you give yourself permission to really be held in a safe and secure and confident and peaceful place and called your practice. Go ahead and set your forehead to rest, please. And take it nice and slow. Start to lift your forehead. And come back onto your elbows, or perhaps you're still on your elbows. And that little army crawl. You walk your forearms forward and to release your hips and let your legs go straight out behind you. Separate your feet nice and wide, even wider than your mat if that feels good. And let your hips relax into the mat. And then we're going to put the opposite fist on top. So whichever fist you didn't do last time, you might want to spread your elbows out a little bit wider. And then bring your forehead down onto your top fist. Now that you've done this before, concentrate on the connection between your forehead to your fist to release every single muscle on your face, including your jaw. Let your lips part. And feel all of this sensation as you start to lift your forehead off of your fist. And that expansion of your third eye center. And then you can release your fist and ground into your knees, and then slowly start to lift your bum. And making our way back onto all fours. And crawl your knees in towards each other so they touch. And crawl your knees forward just a little bit and then rock off onto your left hip. Let's bring our legs back out in front of us. And scoot yourself forward enough and so that you can take your mat behind you, or you can use your blanket that's rolled up, and then just start to fold your mat if you're going to use your mat a few times. And creating a little bit of space and to elevate, and the hips just a little bit higher than the heels. So go ahead and lift your bum up onto that mat folded. And sits bones on the edge, or you're on a blanket. It should be an incredible softness, even if you've been one that's been fighting the good fight. You can let that fight go. You free up so much energy. Let's bring the sole of your right foot in towards your left thigh, so it's like a tree leg. You relax down your left leg so your toes are soft, and then let's just start here. And fingertips on the ground. And let your chin fall towards your chest. Watch what your mind does when you're not controlling it. When you surrender to that point where you really believe you are not in the driver's seat. Most of the pressure that you feel is because you think you're in the driver's seat. This practice is actually empowering us exponentially more than anything we can do. And when we're manipulating life with our mind. And so you may be confronted with and existing illusions and delusions that your mind has made up, and certain beliefs. And perhaps that changes tonight and forever. Who knows? And soft belly, head heavy, and crawl your fingers forward. You don't have to. And then explore your stillness. Feel your spine and your shoulders. And throw that anchor out again here. Get really still. Sink to the bottom. It's okay, you may really be feeling this in your middle spine. Up to your neck. And relax the grip. We'll sit for about 30 more seconds here. And you may trust enough at this point to keep your eyes closed and start to walk your hands back in. And pay attention to the lightness as you stack the spine. And then slide your left ankle in front of your right ankle. And hands come to cap your knees. And let your head stack on top of your shoulders. And here's a little bit more space for you. And realize this is tangible space and lightness and translating as peace. And translated as joy, happiness, or you can simply feel content. You might feel good to take a deeper breath, unforced, of course. And open mouth, exhale. As you set up, let your eyes come back into the room. And take your right hand over to your left knee. And the fingertips, and so you're not pulling. And take your left hand anywhere behind you. And we're just creating like a tripod. And hold your spine up. And then little by little, you can feel your torso drawing and twisting through your spine, internal and external rotation, and through the vertebral column. And again, just putting it out there, but I'm pretty certain there's nothing else that you do in your day where you're going to hold yourself like this in a passive twist for 3 minutes or so. And so it may feel different in a good way. And it feels right, you can let your left ear fall towards your shoulder. You get a secondary sensation in the right side of your neck, but you don't have to. This whole time, if you've been in the fight of your life, your mind's just been waiting for you to discover the space in your body, and so that it can be free again, so that it can let go of likely the external influences somebody else placed on you. We call this seeing the path. Be here about 1 more minute. Pay attention to all the sensation with your eyes closed, and you can begin to come out of the twist. And it's like life, and you're going to see how far you've actually come, which you may have forgotten because you're just constantly perpetuating the anxiety and stress of doing the next thing, versus now where you're not doing the next thing. And that can be incredibly liberating and freeing for your soul. Not doing the next thing. And let that breath go out of your chest. And slowly open the eyes, uncross the legs out in front of you, and scoot your bum off the mat if it's rolled up. And take your blanket out and then let your mat unroll behind you. And then enjoy this. Come down onto your back. And spread your legs out, arms by your sides, palms can face up. Enjoy this. Let's bring your legs in a little bit closer towards each other. And then gently bring your right knee towards your chest. You reach your hands behind your right leg onto your hamstrings so that you can interlace your fingers. And keep your shoulders and your head heavy. And begin to lift your left or your right foot up. Until you feel the hamstring in the hands. There's no need to push the leg all the way straight. Keep the toes relaxed. And just watch your mind react into the feelings in your right thigh, and if the leg is really tight, and let the mind soften around that tightness, and because you're not doing anything right now. You completely surrendered, and so to speak, sit in the passenger seat. You enjoy the freedom of looking out in the window versus the stress of keeping your eyes on the road. And just watch it as you start to bring your right foot back down. And release the grip. And feel the hamstrings soften. And then go ahead and let both of your legs go straight. And take your hands and you can rest them onto your belly. You can feel a breath and a little sigh out of your body. Empty your lungs all the way. close the eyes and be still here. In this moment, everybody, as you lie here still, flat on your back, is a celebration of who you really are. You can't change the past, and what we can do is learn and to control less about the future. And a bright reminder, a big light, light that you can see, a light that you can feel, celebration that you're willing to attend. Is a moment like this in Shavasana. This is all about you right now. It has to be. Because once you clear the way, once you can experience peace, and then you can share it with others. And it can come in so many different ways when you talk about sharing it with others. So I'm so grateful that you're all investing yourselves in this practice, and because I have a feeling that as a human race, we're going to have our work cut out for us when it comes to truly supporting one another. And honestly getting back on our feet. Nobody knows what that looks like. But if we can start here, we're going to be okay. I hope your practice has brought you in some light, and some letting, and some tangible benefits and feeling of space. I look forward to sharing the practice with you all tomorrow on Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. And I know most of you, I'll see you back here tomorrow night, if not in the morning. And thank you all so much for sharing the practice. Please let me know if you need anything or if you have any questions at all. And have a beautiful evening. Namaste.